Well, what is happening YouTube? Spectre here, you join me from higher up than normal. And this is the first ride on the bike that you'll have seen in the last video. This is a 411 RE Enfield Himalayan, belonging to a good friend of mine, which I'm borrowing on an indefinite basis. And yeah, this is with me first ride home. First time ever riding a 411 Himy, or any Himy for that matter. First time riding a Royal Enfield actually. First time riding on knobblies as well, which is also interesting to get used to and leaning. Yeah, it's cool, it's tall, it's absolutely filthy. We just pulled it out of his garden, but it's it's cool, man. Compass, you know, in case the sat nav dies, I can I can pigeon my way home. It's quite loud, I'll be honest. I've got it's got a Lexec on. You'll see all about it in closer videos, but this is just the impressions really. Oh, hang on. Good start. Seemingly fine, question mark. It's potential that I stalled it there. I think the clutch is quite close to the bars. Yeah, potentially just stalled it. The clutch biting point is where it is, but also the battery is quite flat at this point, so I need to clean up the starter motor connection. It's a little bit grubby. I say a little bit. It's been in a canal. So like I say, the 411 Himy, it's a bike that I've considered many times. Am I starting to come in that? Yeah, a little bit. It's a bike I've considered many times, and it's kind of like the perfect bike for the sort of back lane stuff I do on the CG, where it's like, I don't really go off-road, but I do go down like muddy, single track, grass down the middle, scratchy type lanes, and this is exactly the right bike for that. It's rugged, it can take a hit, it's got, you know, a nice like grunty power band. Yeah, it's kind of the perfect bike for that really. So this is a test ride. It's not really a test ride in a view to see whether I want the bike, but it might end up being that way. We'll see. Ticks some boxes, not all of them. Kind of need my my next bike to be actually either bigger or smaller than this, so it's kind of an awkward middle ground, but it's a nice place to be. I think I'm going straight here. Yeah, the sign's nice, got a Lex Tech on it. No baffle. We did have a look at the baffle, not to find at the moment. It's alright, it's fairly loud. It's not crazy loud, it's not as loud as a Buell, but it's loud enough where I'd probably run the baffle if it was me, if it was my bike. But it's not too bad. I'm wearing earplugs, so it's not the end of the world. It's just nice when I'm doing like the proper scratchy small stuff. Obviously you get people living out there who have moved out there for the quiet, and I don't want to, you know, come barreling through their little village and hamlets going bah, 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 bah. So if I can just be a little bit more, you know, respectful of where they live, then I will. The leading's so weird, but I don't think that's not the Himy's fault. I think that's just me not being used to knobblies, because there's such, like, you can really feel the shelf where you go from like one set of lumps to the other. It's fun though. Comfort wise, I've got loads of room. I am finding this saddle is it's angled a little bit forward, so I feel like I'm sort of resting on my gooch a little bit, which is, it's not ideal, but it's fine. Yeah, bags of room. He has got this, he's got the lift kit on this. It doesn't make much difference with the amount of suspension sag there is, but it is there. I'm sort of, I'll show you in a bit when we have the future videos on it, but me as a 5'10", I think I'm about 31 inch leg, but that's measuring like groin to floor, so tries the inseam is probably like 30, something like that ballpark, just to give you an idea. And for me, I'm on balls on my feet, but both sides in bike boots. So it's tall, but it's not unmanageably tall. For me, I quite like a lower bike, even in this sort of style, so I'd probably go just stock height. I don't believe there's any like handling benefits. I think it is purely a comfort thing. I keep looking for mirrors expecting them to be there, and they're not, they're down there. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that mirror shows me my own fat gut. This one's a little bit better, that one is useless, but that's alright. Yeah, vague idea for the lane next to you, I guess, which is the main thing. Yeah, so like I said in the last video, or whichever order these come out in, I'm borrowing this bike from a friend. I'm borrowing it more or less indefinitely. I might have a couple of weeks, I might have a couple of months. We'll see really. It depends whether I get another bike in the meantime, whether I need another bike if I'm borrowing this, whether he wants it back at some point. But we're very loose with it. At the moment the bike is just sat because he doesn't have a great deal of time to ride. So he's doing me a favour by lending it to me, but I'm doing him a favour by riding it around and freeing up, you know, the wheel bearings and the engine and all of these bits and pieces. So it's yeah, it's a nice little mutual symbiosis we've got going on. I'm very excited to just, yeah, get used to it, get to ride it around, get a good feel for it. No storage on it, sadly. He did offer me the side panniers, but I don't need side panniers for daily riding. But it would just be nice to put like a lock or whatever in a top box. But yeah, it's nice. It's a comfortable place to be. I'm getting used to the single. It's haunting slightly. I'm at 4.5 RPM, and you can feel it's kind of surging forward and back a little. It's just between the start of the engine braking, but it's riding lush. Seems to be riding fine now. So I think I probably just stalled it back then. Those lights. I think it's probably I just didn't have the I let the clutch out too early. That should be a user error rather than bike error, or a bit of both. Like I say, the battery has been fairly run down and the bike hasn't been ridden for quite a while, so it is a little bit all stiff and lethargic. No, I like it. Like I say, I've only ridden it like a couple of miles here, but I could already tell why this bike gains the popularity it did, because this is just a lovely place to be, and you can see easily how this sort of thing would be just eating up, well, modern roads. It's not even off-roading, that's the thing. Like, just hitting, like, I hit a Malloc back there, I hit the railway before that, like, not having to worry about bumps, about you know, raised drains, potholes. Like, this thing just eats all of it and just bumps straight over, and it's so easy. Bike for the masses. I've not ridden the 450. I don't know how the 450 is. From the look of it, it looks extremely good, but maybe lacking a little bit of the charm of this, potentially. But that's something owners will have a better perspective on. But for me, just on the offset, absolutely a delight. And like I say, I've been really excited to get my hands on this. When he mentioned that I could borrow it, like, from then I've been looking at pictures from like old meetups me and him have had, and like I've been properly like, oh, I'm gonna get a new bike soon. Oh wow, that did you see that photo in that hedge? Oh, speaking of forgotten vehicles, poor thing. But yeah, no, I've been proper excited about getting hands on this. And this time of year, there's so many places I don't want to take the Magna, or I don't like taking the Magna, because it's grotty, grubby and whatever. I am wide open throttle right now. Didn't make much difference. I didn't realise quite how much throttle I was using until I went to put some more on, and then realised I was already in a stop. It ain't a quick bike, and bear in mind I'm a very heavy rider, right? I'm not a light guy. So when you're watching these videos, imagine that the bike is 2 up at all times, and then you get a sort of a more accurate level of the performance. Can't believe we're getting held up by an MX-5 up there. That's so lame. Mark III as well. Anyway, have we got another gear? We do. Look at that. Yeah, it's just exactly. It's like stuff like that where I wouldn't want to take the Magna down because it's dirty, it's grotty. I don't want to risk dropping it. The Magna, if I drop the Magna, that's going to be a calamity. And if I drop this, I mean, I'll care because it's not my bike. My friend has very clearly been like, I don't care if you drop it. It doesn't matter. Like, it can take a drop. If anything does break, it's cheap as hell. Just buy a new part, throw it on, it's fine. The risk of this is very limited. But yeah, just having a bike that I can take it down these lanes, and if it gets muddy and it gets, you know, dirty, and if I scuff it up with like going up against a hedge or whatever, I just don't have to care, and that's the main thing. I've almost as few cares as this MX-5, which is doing currently 40 and a 60. It makes me fairly jealous because, you know, I've used to own one of those MX-5s, and I currently can't own one because I can't afford it. And then people who can afford it drive them like fucking grannies. But it might be a granny. They've got there's very much two crowds with the MX-5. There's the enthusiasts who are like young, and then there's also like silver-haired old women who just wanted a small convertible to, you know, swizz about in. And the Mark III is softer than the Mark 1 and 2, so it's got a wider appeal. But I'd like them to have a wider appeal with their right foot, really. But that's alright. This bike is made for bimbling, and I'm still learning it, so this is not going to be a particularly spirited ride, even when I get the open road ahead of me. I need to get used to the handling, the brakes, geometry. I feel enormously high up. Obviously, I'm coming from a cruiser. I had the trans out, but only briefly, so I feel enormously high. I feel higher than... Come on, sweetheart. I feel higher than the trans out. I don't know if that's just because there's less stuff in front of me, like in terms of the trans out had like a lot of body work, it had a taller screen. So I don't know if it's just because I'm up high and I'm looking over my own bike that I feel taller. And probably the angled seat is adding to that, because I feel like I'm sort of leant forward a little bit. So I say things to note. I mean, my friend has personalised this bits and pieces. We got the Lextech can, which sounds lovely. It is lighter than I'd like, but it sounds lovely. It does have a really nice brap to it. We got these little mirrors. They're pretty shit. The left one's not horrendous. The right one is pathetic. I will see if I can adjust that a bit when I get home. But actually, those bolts look horrible, so I might not risk breaking it. It's like, it's not, you know, I can see under my elbow, but not what's in the lane behind me. But it's all right. So we've got the raised bar for the sat nav. We do have his old phone right here, so my sat nav mine isn't as ideal as it could be. He liked it. He liked it a lot. Go on, bud. Yeah, Posty liked it. I liked the Posty, he looked cool. It gets a lot of love, the Himalayan. Loads of people like the Himis. Like, it sounds nice, it looks cool. I think people appreciate a sort of basic, rugged, dependable vehicle. No matter how many wheels you've got, bikes and cars, people love just a chunky, you know, Tonka toy of a vehicle. And that's why it sold so well. That's why the Suzuki Jimny sold so well in this country. It's why sort of all of these rugged vehicles that would otherwise be seemingly designed for farmers and rural communities end up having this much broader appeal. Something like this, you know, it's slow, but it's like, it's fast enough to keep up. It's just, you know, dependably slow. I haven't felt particularly lacking in power yet. We'll see how that changes as I live with it further and go on different roads and stuff. I do know that this one it's pretty out of options on like dual carriageway speeds, and actually this particular one I'm told has a bit of a death wobble at about 70-75 now, because it took a hit to the wheel in one of the in sort of an off-roading incident, shall we say, and it's a little bit suspect at high speed, so note on that. Here we are, we've got 60 now. I mean, that has been pinned and not very little is happening. But it's cool. I mean, my friend in his videos on it, he described it as a big 125, and I think that's a very accurate description. It has the 125's kind of, you don't have a great deal of power and you don't have any torque, but it's like you just learn to ride with it, keep momentum and work with it. But this is quicker than a 125, and it is more, you know, it's got more agency. It's like a 125 speed, but where a 125 would get to a hill and slow down, this is a little bit more capable of just pushing up it. So it's kind of the 125 you wished your 125 was. I mean, we're doing 60 and we're bumbling along. We're doing 60 and I'm just under 5k, slightly up on a slight incline. What more do you need, right? Like, I've got the Magna if I want to go quick. I've got a nice 90 horsepower V4. So the 20 horsepower single is a nice contrast, and that's what you want from a multi-bike garage, is a good difference between the two rides. It's very different horses for courses, and that's ideal. We'll give it a go standing in a bit. It's kind of set up for standing slightly. You will note that my friend's he's angled his switchgear down slightly, so it's not too bad. It looked worse to me. I was actually worried I was going to have to level it out when I was rewatching some of his old videos way back in the day when he used to make content, and yeah, they look further down than they are. They're actually not that bad. I'm not like, I'm not to turn my hand to reach for them in the way that I thought I might. I think I'm warming to singles in general. I mean, I think the first single I rode was when I did my full A motorcycle lessons. The training school I used in Plymouth, first class motorcycles, which is the only one in Plymouth you should be using, by the way, just if you are in the area. Don't even entertain the others, but yeah, first class. They had the KTM 690 Dukes as their rider bikes, and I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the power, and I enjoyed the DaVinci, and they weigh nothing, which is why they have them as test bikes. Is even though they're quite tall for like a sort of a novice jumping on, the weight is just like a joke on those bikes. It's like a toy. So they haul ass, and they feel really good. Side note: this car in front is smoking weed. They're definitely hotboxing because I can smell it this whole way down here. So probably the Audi, I imagine, is toking that ganj. That's it. But yeah, so I didn't get on with the Duke, or at least in the time I had with it. Perhaps I would have gelled with it more riding independently. I think I probably would, to be fair. But yeah, the BSA Gold Star as a 650 single, I really liked that. I enjoyed that engine's configuration a lot, and now I'm on the Himy 411, also a single, and it's nice. It's got a good yeah, I'm getting used to it, so I think perhaps I'm less against singles than I used to be, which is good. It's good to broaden up your range of experiences and also preferences. Opens up more bikes for me in the future, potential bikes. But listen, I'm just going to crack on. I'm going to ride my ride. There's not a great deal more to say on a first ride, really. I'm really loving it so far. It's riding well. It is stiff. It is a bit like it needs freeing up and everything because it's been stood, but it's riding great. Very much liking it so far, and I'm excited, particularly when it gets a little bit warm. I'm starting to get cold now, I have to say. But yeah, particularly when the weather starts to get a little bit warmer, I'm really looking forward to getting out of the bike on this, take it down some lanes, and really get to learn it a little bit better. I think it's just going to be a great companion, particularly for where I live, rural Cornwall. This is the ideal sort of bike, really. This is exactly what you want. If someone was saying, oh, what should I buy as my only bike for this sort of area, I probably would say something like this, like, you know. And they're reasonably reliable. They do have their issues here and there, and obviously everyone always goes, oh, made in India. And yeah, they are, but like, you know, they're fine. This hasn't had too much to go wrong with it. I'll say that, it's had an engine, but but it wasn't a big issue that caused it. It was yeah, it's easily rectified, weirdly. But in general, these are pretty good, and even when they're not, the parts are like a joke. I mean, my friend was saying that if you want it, like if I drop it and bend the bars, to buy a set of bars for these, full set of bars and switchgear and the throttle bodies and grips, this entire cross section is like 120 quid from India for all of it, not just the bar, like everything. Yeah, crazy. While we're at these lights, I mean, everything's pretty stock here. Brought up 8,500 miles. You know, everything works still. Fuel gauge, compass. This is an aftermarket switch for the ABS, because the later Himy's got switchable ABS. This one being, is it BS4? Is that the terminology? The early one? Didn't come with it, so my friend does a lot of green laning, so he got bored of putting the fuse, so he's put a switch in for it, because that's all it is. You literally just like unplug the sort of ABS brain. But yeah, it's good. You know, little tiny chody mirrors, which are pathetic, but they, you know, they're fine, and they're not out here to brake when he drops it off-roading, so that's why they're there. Manual choke, which I think is a fast idle, and I think it's not a proper choke. It might be though. I'm not very familiar with these. I haven't really read up on them. I just sort of jumped on it and gone. Yeah, no, it's cracking. So that's how I'm going to ride my ride. I'm going to enjoy my time. I'll jump back in if there's anything else, but if not, I will catch you all in the next video. Might be on this, might be on the Magna. We'll see what comes along. Yeah, we'll go from there. So thank you very much for watching. Ride safe, and we'll see you all next time. And let me know what you think about the Himy.